Okay, so before we start lambda expression, what basic we should know that we will try to understand. So first we need to understand what is the interface. What is a interface? So we create an interface like this interface and we give the name I. So what is interface actually? Interface is also type of a class. It is also type of a class. First of all, it is a type of a class. Type of a class. So what type of class? It is a incomplete class. It is a incomplete class. So what do you mean by incomplete class? It contains, what do you mean by incomplete class? It contains abstract methods. It contains abstract methods, right? So we have abstract class also, there we can also write abstract methods. Then why there is a need of having interface? Yes, so in case of abstract class we can write concrete methods also and non-concrete, that is abstract method also we can write. So if you want to achieve 100% abstraction, then we go with the interface. Then now we also support multiple inheritance. We also support multiple inheritance with the help of interface. So we can support multiple inheritance also. Multiple inheritance support. So how it is supported a multiple interface, multiple inheritance. Now if you think of, let's say I have a class A and class B, and there is a class C. So C is a child of A and B. Now let's say A class has instance variable. Here also we have instance variable. Here also we have instance method. Here also we have instance method. Here also you have constructor. Here also you have constructor. Here also you have inner class. Inner class. Here also you have instance block. Here also you have instance block and static block also, right? So you tell me, when one class extends another class with inheritance, what happens? So C class extends from A class. So all the properties, non-private, non-static, non-final, will be part of C class. Now right now C class gets the properties from both A as well as B. Now what is the problem? C class will have two copies. C class will have two copies, two instance variables of the same name, instance method, constructor also. Now when you create an object of child class, then from the child class constructor they will be called to the parent class constructor. Then which class constructor you should call? Either A or B. Whenever you create an object of child class, then constructor will be called of the child class as well as parent class. Also instance block of the parent class will be also executed. Then which instance block to access? Either A or B. So there are a lot of confusions, right? Now this is not supported through classes. This is not supported through classes, right? Because of this reason there will be a confusion. There will be confusion for this C class, or there will be an ambiguity for the C class. There will be a ambiguity or a confusion. There is no clarity for C class, which variable to access, either from A class or either from B class. This will be confusion. Now to avoid this, it is not supported, this confusion. Now with interfaces, now let's say I have two interfaces, I1 and I2. Now this interface is implemented by C. Now class C implements I1 as well as I2. Now C class don't have any confusion. Why? Because interface don't have instance variable, instance method, instance block, constructor, inner class, right? Static block also. So all these things are not allowed inside the interface. Here also it is not allowed. Now what is allowed inside the interface? You have only abstract methods. We have static variables. We have static methods from Java 8, right? Default methods also. So these things are allowed only inside the interface. So here also we have static variables, abstract methods, static method. So for C class, is there any confusion? If I want to access static variable, how do I access? I access them with the help of interface i2.sv, i1 dot, let's say static method, i2 dot static method. So there is no confusion because these static members will be part of interface only. Now what is left? Abstract method. So there is also abstract method here also and here also. So which abstract method will be called? There is no confusion because if you create object of C class, so which method will be called? Because since C class implements this interface, so abstract method is also overridden inside C class. Same method is overridden in the C class. So which method will be called? When I say C dot abstract method, what are these method? There will be a method present inside this. So that method will be there. Let's say M1. So M1 method was present in I1, I2 and C. So which M1 method will be called? So is there any confusion for the child class? Because this particular method from the child class will be called. So there is no confusion for now for the child class. So this is how multiple inheritance is supported in interfaces. How multiple inheritance is supported in interfaces? Because interface does not contain instance variable, instance method, instance block, constructor, inner class, static block. All these things are not allowed inside the interface. That's the reason we are able to support the multiple inheritance with the help of interfaces. So far so good everyone. So far so good everyone. Online.
Yes, sir. So what if M1 method is declared in one of the interface? Then
That's fine. There will not be confusion. There will not be any confusion.
so it will still override if abstract
Yes.
method M1 is written.
Yeah.
Then it will override.
Yeah. Let me create that also. So I have I1, it is an interface, and similarly I will create I2 also. So there is a void M1 method. So same interface I will create I2. There also we have M1 method. Now M1 method is present in both I1 and I2. Then I create a class C that implements I1 comma I2. Now we have only one method common, so M1 method is overridden. So you will say right. Then you create object of C class CC equal to new C. So which method will be called? C dot M1. So we will call C dot M1 means this particular method. Simple. So there is no confusion for the C class because method is overridden inside the C class. So there will not be any confusion. Perfect. So same method is present in I1 also I2, but that method is overridden inside the C class. So there is no confusion now. Right? Now can you create object of an interface? We cannot create object of an interface. Why? Yes, perfect. So we cannot create object of interface because it is incomplete. Okay, यहाँ तक clear? Now next, what is the concept we have to understand? How to implement? We know that how to implement that. How to implement an interface? This is how we created a class. This is how we created a class. Now I will create another class. So I can implement the interface I1 in another way also. What is that? So I1 equal to new I1. So this is anonymous class way. This is anonymous class way. So how do we create anonymous class? This is how we create. Check. Now if you see here, C class here, exactly same thing we are doing here. If you see here, C class, this method we are overriding. Here also we are method overriding. And this is the class definition. Which class definition? Anonymous class. Now anonymous class does not have a name. So we cannot create the class at one place and create the object at another place. So we have to, what we have to do? We have to create the this class definition and object in the same line. So what we have done, we have created a class and we have created object of the same class. Now this class is an anonymous class which does not have a name, and this class is always going to be a subclass. Anonymous class is always going to be a subclass of either concrete class or abstract class or in the interface. So we don't need to write that. Now this class, anonymous class, is a subclass of I1. So we have child, this is a child class of I1. So we have child class object in the parent class reference. So how do I call this? I1 dot M1. That's it. Simple. See here, M1 method in anonymous class. So this, everyone is able to understand this anonymous class way. Online also, please confirm. How do we implement an interface with the help of anonymous class, or how to create a subclass? Right? Very simple. As it is class definition, we have written exactly same thing. So we have just removed the class name and we have removed this implements I1 that we have removed. Now subclass, this anonymous class will be always a subclass of either concrete class or abstract class or an interface. So in this case we have created a subclass and that is of type I1. So remember, we are not creating object of I1, we are creating object of an anonymous class. That class implements interface I1. What we are saying? We are creating a object of a anonymous class. That class implements the interface I1. So anonymous class is a subclass of type I1. So we can store. So we have to create, we have to write the semicolon, right? Once we create object. If you see here. So this is method, and this is class body. This is method. We can have multiple methods also. We can have multiple methods. So this is the class definition. This is the class definition. Yes. So why we are creating anonymous class? Because we are not using this anywhere. So we are just using it itself. Because of that we are creating here. देखो यहाँ पर class definition, then object creation, and then we have semicolon. See here. So this is the definition. Once we have definition, we are creating object, and then at the end we have semicolon. Simple enough, right? Just like any other class, we write the methods. We are just overwriting the method here. Clear now, Deep, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, anonymous class we have already seen. So it is a class. It is a class without name. Since this class does not have a name, since anonymous class does not have name, we have to define the class and create the object in the same line, right? Now since it does not have a name, so we cannot write the reference name, so we have to take the right. Since it does not have the name, we don't have the reference of anonymous class, so we take the parent class reference. Simple. So we use parent class reference and child class object. So anonymous class will always be a subclass. It will always be a subclass. Now subclass can be of, it can be a subclass of a concrete class या abstract class या interface. ये तीनों में से किसी का भी हो सकता है, ठीक है? तो कैसे क्रिएट करते हैं? अभी मेरे पास लेट्स से आई हैव 3 क्लासेस, क्लास A, this is a concrete class, I have abstract class B, then I have interface C, interface I. Now I have, let's say I don't have any method, so how do I create the anonymous class for this? So I can do that. Like this: a equal to new a, and I can write the curly braces like this, and we can override the methods a class. Similarly, we can do like this: b equal to new b, and we can override the methods of B class. Similarly, we can write I equal to new I, and we can write the semicolon, and then we can write the override the methods of interface I. That's it. Then how do I call the method? We can now, let's say I have some methods, so we have a reference, so a dot method name, that's it. Similarly, b dot method name. Here also we can write I dot simple. This is how we create a anonymous class. ठीक है? Okay. Now let's talk about, now if you see here, we can create a subclass of an interface. How to create a subclass? Now what we have to do, how to create a, or first of all that, let me tell you what is function interface. Interface which contains only one single abstract method, that's it. It can contain any number of static or default methods. Perfect. From Java 8. That's it. ठीक है. Now I have an interface. Let's say I. Now this interface, I have a method, let's say void m1. That's it. This is the abstract method. Now you tell me, how do I create a subclass? How do I create a subclass of this interface? So I can create a plain Java class. I can create class, let's say a child class implements I, and then we can override the method void m1, and then we can write SOP of what is the statement. ऐसा लिख सकते हैं. Yes, this is one of the way. Then you can create object of how child class. Now I will have a public static void main, and there I can create object of, let's say, how can I write this? I can write I equals to new child, like this, and whose method will be called I dot m1. So this is one of the way. This is one of the way to implement. ये traditional हो गया. This is traditional. This is traditional. Say child class. This is interface, and this method is overridden. Now see here. This is the method I have overridden. This is your main method, and this is your entire class. Now this is how you actually create a child class object and call the method. That's it. This is traditional way. Now same I can do with the help of anonymous class. How do I do that? I equal to हाँ लिख सकते हैं, that's fine. मैंने लिखा नहीं simplicity के लिए. I equal to new I versus सेमीकोलन. और अभी ये आप इंटरफेस इंप्लीमेंट कर रहे हो, तो आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा? ये मेथड ओवरराइड करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, ओवरराइड किया, फिर आप क्या करोगे? आप आई डॉट m1, ये आपने एनोनिमस क्लास से किया. आपने क्या किया है? एनोनिमस क्लास से. ये कौन सा है? एनोनिमस वे. ये कौन सा वे है? ट्रेडिशनल वे. both the ways are clear everyone? How to do with the traditional way, how to do with the anonymous class way? Simple. अभी ये बहुत लंबा रास्ता है. It is a very long way to implement the function interface. हमने क्या किया? अभी functional interface implement किया with the traditional way, with anonymous class way. In this we have to write lot of code. Ultimately आप क्या कर रहे हो? You are just overriding the abstract method. That's it. तो हम वही करना चाहते हैं. तो राइट, तो लैम्बडा एक्सप्रेशन एक ऐसा टूल है जिसका यूज करके आप ये सब कुछ कर सकते हो. सो लैम्बडा एक्सप्रेशन का यूज करके आप ये सब कुछ अचीव कर सकते हो. सो व्हाट इज फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल लैम्बडा एक्सप्रेशन? इट इज ए anonymous function which does not have method name, method return type, access specifier, access modifier. Now okay, it is a function, but what it is actually? So it is a way of, it is used to, आप बोल सकते हो, it is used to implement only functional interface. Now by now you must be knowing what is implementing an interface. So we are going to create a child class of, that is creating a what happened? It is used to implement only functional interface, that is creating a subclass of a functional interface. ठीक है, तो आप लैम्बडा एक्सप्रेशन लिखते हो मतलब आप क्या करते हो, आप इंप्लीमेंट कर रहे हो फंक्शनल इंटरफेस को. इट इज ए शॉर्टर कंसाइज वे टू इम्प्लीमेंट फंक्शनल इंटरफेस. तो आपने अभी देखा कि कितना सारा कोड लिखना पड़ता है मुझे, राइट? सो व्हाट इज द सिंटैक्स? So we write the functional interface name reference equal to, now this is input to abstract method and method body. That's it. ठीक है, अभी सेम इंटरफेस, अभी मेरे पास ये इंटरफेस है. व्हाट इज दिस इंटरफेस? दिस वन. सो आई वांट टू राइट अ लैम्बडा एक्सप्रेशन फॉर दैट. लेट्स से आई हैव इंटरफेस I, and there I have a method void add, या m1 लिख सकते हो आप. That's it. ठीक है. Now this is the interface I have, and for this I want to write a lambda expression. So what I will do, I will create a separate class. There I will write a main method, and inside the main method I will write I equal to, now I will remove this. Now you just copy entire thing, void m1, and we have to write the body. ठीक है, तो पहले तो आप क्या करो, ये निकाल दो, ये भी निकाल दो, ये हटा दिया, तो इफेक्टिवली आपको कैसे दिखेगा लैम्बडा? दिस वन एंड दिस वन, और इन दोनों को ज्वाइन करने के लिए आप यूज करते हो एरो. ये हो गया आपका मेथड इनपुट एंड मेथड बॉडी. तो अभी मेथड बॉडी में आपने कुछ भी नहीं लिखा, तो आप इसको लिख सकते हो ऐसे. ठीक है, आप यहाँ पे SOP ऑफ स्टेटमेंट लिख सकते हो, SOP ऑफ लेट्स से हेलो, या जो भी आपको लिखना है आप लिख सकते हो. ये बॉडी के अंदर लिख दिया. ये हो गया आपका मेथड बॉडी, और ये मेथड का आपका यस मेथड इनपुट एंड मेथड बॉडी. दिस आर द टू थिंग्स. मेथड इनपुट और मेथड बॉडी को आपने ज्वाइन किया यूजिंग दिस एरो ऑपरेटर. चल जाएगा. तो आप मेथड ओवरराइड किया और मेथड के अंदर कुछ लिखा ही नहीं, तो एम्प्टी मेथड भी हो सकता है ना, राइट? तो लेकिन एम्प्टी मेथड लिखना है तो क्यों लिख रहे हो, मत लिखो फिर, राइट? सो वी शुड ओवरराइड द मेथड. ठीक है. दूसरा, अभी मेरे पास कोई इंटरफेस है, have an interface number. What is the interface? I have number, and which accepts two integers and returns a integer. This is the interface I have. Now for the similar one, how do I write the lambda? So I will write first of all parent interface reference number num equal to, ये मेथड आप एज इट इज लिखो, लेकिन इसका नेम देन रिटर्न टाइप ये हटा दो. then you write the parameters. Then you can write as it is int a, int b. Then you have to use the arrow operator. Then we write the method body. Now we have to return the value also. If you see here, we have to return the value. So this is the body and there we write the semicolon, then I write return. I write return a plus b and semicolon. So this is your entire thing for the lambda. Now in this, what we can remove? We can write a, b, then since we have only one statement, so we don't need to write the curly braces and we don't need to write return also. So we can directly write a plus b and semicolon. हाँ, कहाँ पर? ये वाला. So if it is simple one, you can directly write now SOP. ब्रेसेस के अंदर सेमीकोलन आएगा. हाँ, करेक्ट, तो आएगा वो. कर्ली ब्रेसेस लगे तो आपको सेमीकोलन देना पड़ेगा, नहीं लगा रहे तो डायरेक्टली यहाँ पे एंड हो जाएगा. यस, हाँ करेक्ट. हाँ, यहाँ पे एक और है, यहाँ पर इसके अंदर आई हैवंट शोन दैट. ठीक है, करेक्ट 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 correct. So I am creating an interface called as number. Now I have a method called as int add, and which accepts two numbers. Let's say int number 1, int number 2. Now I will write lambda test, and there I will write the main method. ठीक. Now we have to write parent class reference number equal to. Now you copy this method if you are not sure. Copy this method and you write like this. Now remove this add, int add, and we have this method parameters. Then we have to write the method body also. Right. Now we have to combine these two with this hyphen. That's it. Now since method is expecting to return some value, so we have to return some value also. So I will write return number 1 plus number 2, and I have to write the semicolon. Then we can call the method number dot add, and you are passing 100 and 200. Now since it has only one statement, so we can remove this return, we can remove this return also, we can remove this curly braces also. ठीक. Right, and since it is a lambda, we don't need to specify the type also, we can directly write this also. That's it. $300. Simple. Now we'll write another interface. Let's say I have interface string processor. This is the interface. Now what this string processor does, which accepts only string str, right? Now I have to write the lambda for this method. How do I write? String processor. So first of all, parent class, that is interface reference, and copy this method, remove this accept, then this is the input to the method, and then you combine with the body. Now since this method does not return anything, so we are not getting any error. So I will just print you have passed, और हम जो भी पास करेंगे उसे बस प्रिंट करेंगे. दैट्स इट. ये हो गया आपका मेथड का बॉडी. अब मेथड के बॉडी में एक ही स्टेटमेंट है, तो यू कैन रिमूव दैट curly braces. So we have written like this. Now how do I call the method? String Now this method does not return anything, so I will directly call string processor dot accept, and I will say good afternoon. Check. Let's run this. So you have entered or you have passed good afternoon. Simple. Now we will create one more interface. I will call it as function. Now function has method called as interface function I have created. Now there I will create a method named as apply, and which accepts some input. Let's say it accepts integer and it returns a string, or you can take integer also. So this method accepts the integer and returns a integer only. Now I want to write the lambda for this. So how do I write that? Lambda test. There what we have to write? Function is the interface. Function. Copy this. Now remove this specifier, data type, name. Then we have to write the body also. Now this method accepts an integer and returns an integer. So I can say number into number. So this method accepts one input only and returns a integer. So I will write return number into number. Now since this method, what happened, number is already used. Okay, I will use num into num. Right? Now since this method has only one statement, so I can replace with the like this. I don't need to write this int also. And what we are doing this in this particular method, we are accepting a input number and we are providing the square. So I can write this reference as a square. So I will write, if I want to find the square of the given number is, आप लिख सकते हो वहाँ पर square dot accept apply, sorry, and you will pass the number, let's say 15. हाँ, ये भी निकाल सकते हैं हम, since it has only one parameter, so you can remove that also. We are able to replace that. Simple. Now let me create one more interface. I will call it as supplier, and supplier has a method which returns a string, and method name is, let's say, supply. क्या नहीं मैंने खुद के क्रिएट करे हैं. I have created this my own. So there are different predefined that also will. So string, supplier has a method called as provide which returns the string. I want to implement that. So I will write a different lambda class, lambda test2. There I will write the main method. Now, what is the class interface name? Supplier. Supplier equal to, this is the method? No. provide is the method. What this method does, returns a string which will have body also, and we are going to join this, remove this string, remove this provide. So this provide method does not accept anything but returns a string. So I can write return string hello, and I will write this one only. Braces भी हटा सकते हैं हम. That's it. So this method only returns hello. I will call this method supplier dot provide. When you call this method, you will get the string only. Simple. Now just like that, we have created our own interfaces, functional interfaces. So like that, we have lot many predefined functional interfaces also. So runnable is one example. So runnable is an interface which has a method, run method. So I am just copying that functional interface parent reference, this one, and I copy this method. You don't need to remove, you don't need access specifier, access modifier, you don't need method return type, you don't need method name also. So what we need, only method input and the body. Tick. Now I will have only a statement running, and since I have only one statement, I can replace this without this one also. So how do I call this method? Enable dot run method. Simple. So this is a very short and concise way to implement your functional interfaces. Running. That's it. Now like this runnable, we have lot many functional interfaces we have. So I have a couple of other functional interfaces also. I will talk about that also. So we have one interface called as predicate. So predicate is a functional interface which has a method test. So predicate function interface reference, and then you paste the method. So we don't need this return type and method name. We don't need type also. We can just write input, right? And this method returns the output as boolean true or false. This method returns a boolean true or false, boolean. So we have to return true or false. I will say return true by default. Now since it has only one statement, I can replace that like this. Now I will say predicate dot, what is the method name? Test, and I will pass anything. Whatever you pass, you will get the output as true only. True. Now I want this input to this method to accept only integer. Then what I can write? I can write this method should accept only integer. Now I will get compile time error. So I will say, let's say 10. So this method accepts input as 10, and this method will return true or false based on the input you provide. Now let's say input is divisible of 2. I will say I will return true, and I will say is even. I will say is even. Is even test. I have written a test to check if the number is even or not. So what is the number you pass? If this is divisible by 2, you will say it is even, otherwise false. True. Simple. I can write different other things also. Now I can write let's say predicate, and this time it will accept only string, and I have to check if your name consists of if it is uppercase or lowercase. I will say is, or you can write any other case, uppercase, or you can say if integer also you can take, that's perfectly fine. You can take integer, and I want to know if you are eligible for vote or not. For vote. I will accept your age as an input, and if your age is, if age is greater than 18, you will return true, otherwise false. That's it. So I will write eligible for vote. I will write I am eligible for vote, true or false. It will print true or false. I will call the method eligible for vote, and I will pass the test. I will pass the age as, let's say, 20. So 20 I am passing to the test method. Now 20 will be passed to this particular age, and then 20 is greater than 18, returns true. हाँ कर सकते ना, ठीक है, ये एज ना आप यूज़र से कर सकते हो, क्या लिखना है आपको, बस एज आप, हाँ दैट्स इट, डू दैट आल्सो. लेट मी रिमूव दिस. अभी आपको एज है राइट, ये एज कहाँ से लेना है, यूज़र से. I will say int age equal to camera dot next int. ठीक है, एज आप यहाँ से पास करोगे, इंस्टेड ऑफ यू पासिंग दिस आई विल राइट एज. ठीक है, तो एज अभी क्रिएट करते हैं यहाँ पर, अभी न्यू स्कैनर system dot in, and I will get the scanner. ठीक, एज पास करो तो ऑलरेडी वेरिएबल यहाँ पे यूज है, तो आप बोल सकते हो इनपुट, जो भी इनपुट आप दिया एज, वो एज कॉपी होगा इस इनपुट में, और इनपुट चेक होगा इफ इट इज ग्रेटर देन. तो आई विल आस्क यूजर एंटर योर एज, जो भी एज देगा वो स्टोर होगा एज में, और फिर हम क्या कर रहे हैं, कॉल कर रहे हैं किसे, टेस्ट फंक्शन. वेर इज टेस्ट फंक्शन, ये वाला. चलो इसको चलाते हैं. There are a lot many softwares running in the background. Because of that, it is taking a lot of time. This software is very heavy. It is doing recording also and streaming also at the same time. Enter your age. If I say 17, false. ठीक, सिंपल. ये था आपका छोटा सा लैम्बडा. चलो we'll try to understand some interview questions on lambda expression in Java. Interview questions we'll try to see. What is lambda expression? Lambda expression in itself is an anonymous method, a method with no name, which is used to provide implementation of the method defined by a functional interface. So a new syntax and operator has been introduced in Java for lambda. This is the syntax, optional arguments and body. Here you specify this arrow, and before that we have to specify optional arguments and the body. A very simple example of lambda expression would be like this: return 5. इंट गेट वैल्यू रिटर्न 5, तो उसके लिए आपने क्या लिखा है, ये वाला ऐसे। ओके, कॉन्कैट करना है तो आप ऐसे इनपुट दे सकते हो, दो स्ट्रिंग, आउटपुट दे दो s1 plus s2। What is function interface? A function interface is a interface which contains only single abstract method. This is the function interface we have runnable. And how do we use lambda expression in function interfaces? We already know that. Okay. जैसे भी लिख सकते हो आप, एक इसके अंदर आप ये भी लिख सकते हो। तो आपको लेट से किसी का फैक्टोरियल निकाल के देना है तो आप भी वो निकाल सकते हो ऐसे, नंबर एक्सेप्ट करो, उसका फैक्टोरियल का कोड आप यहाँ पे लिख सकते हो। सब कुछ कर सकते हो उसके अंदर। यस, देयर लॉट मेनी callable, comparator, there are lot many things. What are new features added in Java 8? Lambda expression, function interface, default methods, method references, optional datetime API. What is method reference? What is meaning of string colon value of expression? We have already seen that. These are some of the predefined functional interfaces we have. Binary operator, unary operator, by function, by consumer, by supplier. You have seen most of them. You have seen most of them. So let's see what is call by value, call by reference. Okay. So I have some couple of methods. Now what is call by value and call by reference? Call by value means we call the functions by passing the values. Call by reference means we are calling the functions or methods by giving the original values or address. Okay? So to conclusion, Java is call by value. Means in Java we call the functions by passing the copy of variables or copy of values. Okay. Now I have two variables, int equal to 100 and int b equal to 200. Then I call a method add and which returns me a comma b. So I will create a method called as it returns me a integer value a plus b. Okay, now you tell me what is the output in this case? 300. Okay, this will be 300. There is no question on that. You call a method, you pass the a and b, and then you return the a plus b. Okay. Now you know the concept of local variable also. How many variables are created there? How many local variables are there in this program? Two. Only two? 4. 2, 4, 5. How many? 4. 2 which are there. So this is one local variable. These two and these two also. Total 5. ठीक है? हाँ. ठीक है. So I write a equal to 1000 and b equal to 2000. Then I print value of a equal to a, value of b equal to b. How? You tell me the output. 3100 200. यहाँ पर क्या होगा? श्योर 100 और यहाँ पर 200. आउटपुट क्या रहेगा यहाँ पर? 3000. वाई? हाँ, लेकिन ये वैल्यू चेंज हुई, ये वाली क्यों? क्योंकि वो लोकल Perfect. Perfect. You already know things. This is called as call by value. Your original values are not changing. Your original values, are they changing? No. Your original values are not getting changed at all. Now let me explain this also. So if you see here, I have two methods. One is main method and another one is check. Now there is a call to your main method. There is a call to your main method. Call to the add method. Now what happens in this case? Now there is, whenever you application start, there is one method execution stack is created. Method execution stack. So where your variables are stored, local variables. Where your local variables are stored? Stack memory. So when you start the program, there is a stack memory is created like this for the method execution. Now what is the first method that is called by the Java application? Main method. So there will be an entry for main method. First entry will be main method. Now in the main method we have two variables, not two, this is also one variable. Now for now we will consider these two. So a variable is created like this, a equal to 100, b equal to 200. Then you call which method? Add method. Now then call is going to the add method and that is added on top of main method. Now there are two variables again created here, int a and int b. Now there is again a and b. Now what is the value of a? So this a is copied. Now whatever the value of a, this a variable is copied to this one. So this will be 100 and this 200 will be copied to this one. So here value will be 200. That's it. Now you are changing the value of a and b. Which a and b? Which are they? Where are they? They are where? They are inside this one. So you have changed this a2 and this a2 2000, and that's what you have written value 1000 and 2000. That's why you get a value as 3000 here. And which value you are printing, which a and which b? We are currently inside. Now once your control is back, this particular entry will be removed from the stack. Then control will come back to main method. Now there we have only, now these two variables are deleted, these are done. Now which a and b are you are talking about? This a and this b from main method. That's why you are getting the output as 100 and 200. So here we call the method by passing the copy of values, not the original variables. We don't give original variables. Again new variables will be created inside that method and these variable values will be copied to that new variables. There are two sets of variables, right? Now let's say every day I give the notes. Now if I give the right access to everyone, what will happen? Everyone will mess up with that. So what you do, I just give, I have my own copy and you have your own copy. You can make changes in your own notes, right? So that is call by value. Call by reference is giving right access to everyone. Now if everyone is changing, that change will be reflected to everyone, right? So that is what? That is call by value. So we call the functions by passing the copy of values, not giving the original variables. We are not giving original variables. We are just giving the value of that variable into this particular. So this values 100 and 200 will be copied to these two variables like this. That's it. This is called as call by value. Check. कौन से variables? Now if where? Where? So you can create new variables. There will be new variables created inside the add method.
Sir, A और B को सिखा रहे थे कि how it is, the name is same but it's still it is different.
Name is same but these are two different variables, set of variables. हाँ तो नहीं सी डी also if I use C and D also same ही रहेगा. This will be C and D. Logic will be same. That's it. But I was just telling you that if I have the same name also, we are having different variables. These are two different set of variables. ठीक. Okay. Now let's talk about. That's it. Call by value. That's it. Call by reference. We don't have call by reference in Java. Yes. Now there is one more demo I want to take it for this. Let's say I have a student class. Okay. And student has let's say ID and name. I have a constructor which accepts the student ID and name. Perfect. Then I create another class demo 1. There I create object of student. There I create object of student. Student equal to new student, and I pass the value let's say 1 and let's say Sachin. So I have this object. Now then I call a method display student details, and I pass student. Let me create the method. Okay. Then after change, after again I am calling student details here also. So I say student dot ID and I print student dot name. Pay attention here. Now there I do this student equal to new student and I say to Dhoni. Chalo. Dhoni. Then I print what is the what is the output? कहाँ पे धोनी आएगा, कहाँ पे सचिन? हाँ यहाँ पे डिस्प्ले कॉल हो रहा है, तो यहाँ पे क्या आउटपुट आएगा? ओके. और यहाँ पर 1 and सचिन या धोनी? वन एंड सचिन क्या यहाँ पर? ठीक है. So let's try to understand this. Let me copy this. ठीक है. चलो देखो यहाँ पर. Here are two methods. One is main method and one is display method. Tick. Now what happens? I told you there will be a stack of this will be created. What is the first method? Main. And what happens there? So what is this student? What is this student? Now what is this student actually? This underlined student is a reference. So there will be a student created like this here, and which will have some value. What is the value it will have? This will have a address. This points to an object which will have values 1 and so what is this 1 1? This is the address of this particular object. Simple. Now you called which method? Display method. You call display method. So there also there is a student reference is created. So this is student local variable is created, and what is copied? This particular value is also copied here. Now what is this 111? This also points to the same object, right? Now what happens? Now you have created, what happens? See here, student equal to new student. Now this, which student value change? Can you tell me? So there are two different student reference variables. One is in the main method, one is in the display method. Now this student, earlier it was pointing to this object. Now this student is pointing to a new object which has value 1 and Dhoni. 2 and Dhoni. Now this object will never, now it will not point to this object, this will point to 2 and Dhoni. Now this line will print, which details? Student details in student. Which student? This student. This will print this student. So first line it will print 2 and Dhoni, and this student will print 1 and Sachin. So this line will print 2 and Dhoni, and this line will print 1 and Sachin. Why is it so? Because earlier both the references were pointing to the same object, but later on in the display method they created a new object. Now this student reference will point to that object. So your answer will be this one, 2 Dhoni and 1 Sachin. Perfect. Okay, so you should be able to understand the difference. See this carefully. ठीक.